There's a Chicago Bears receiver that's worth a darn?
Can you believe this guy over 40 years old is throwing for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns? It's insane.
Well, what I can't believe is that this top 5 running back is being out-touched 2-1 by his backup. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Football Free for All. We've got week 3 almost in the books. What'd you think overall?
Some surprises, some obvious situations, and some more injuries.
Injuries. My big thing was that scoring was way down. There were a couple of blowout games, but as a whole, it felt like this was a little bit of a less exciting weekend of sports.
Yes. Dallas makes the Seattle game interesting, and the Falcons still can't figure out how to close games.
Yes, absolutely. All right, do you want to start with Thursday night game?
Yep, Thursday Night Football. We got Miami Dolphins versus Jacksonville Jaguars, 31-13. Dolphins get the victory. Fitzpatrick is solid. They went to go get their good old rookie quarterback.
Tua,
thinking that he was going to be the new franchise face. Fitz is saying, no, I'm not done yet. 38 years old, and he's still doing pretty decent.
Yeah, he's going to train him up. It's going to be great.
The Jaguars, they were without DJ Chark, and you could tell. Minshew did not look comfortable. He was rushed too many times. I mean, James Robinson, wow, what a game. He was the number 1 receiver, which was interesting at 6 receptions, 83 yards, and obviously led the backfield with 11 carries, 46 yards, 2 touchdowns. This was James Robinson's game on a losing effort.
Miles Gaskin was pretty impressive, taking that back as well.
Completely dominating the backfield. Jordan Howard, it makes no sense. They paid Jordan Howard, they paid Matt Breida to be the backfield, and 3 carries apiece?
I agree with you. Jordan Howard has like half as many touchdowns as he does carries. It's ridiculous.
Right. Like he's on pace for 16 touchdowns or something ridiculous. That's what a backup is for, and he's supposed to start. So I don't know.
So we've got 49ers at Giants. 49ers 36, Giants 9. This was a butt kicking. What we had here was Nick Mullins and Kyle Shanahan putting on a clinic. Jerick McKinnon over 70 yards. Wilson Jr., 2 touches. Brandon Ayuk over 100 all-purpose yards. Jordan Reed went out with an injury. George Kittle out. We've got Jimmy G out. Solomon Thomas out. Mostert out. Nick Bosa out. Mosley went out mid-game. Like this team is on reserves, and they just put a clinic on how to beat a bad team. Yeah. On the other side of the ball, Devonta Freeman showed that maybe he just doesn't have anything left in the tank.
It was bad.
There's nothing on this team that you
can
want.
tell that they miss Barkley.
Yes. Well, not only do they miss Barkley, but they've mismanaged the crap out of this team. With the picks they had, they should be better than what they are.
Yeah, not this. This was a complete nightmare. And anybody who picked up Jeffrey Wilson real late in the draft, or you picked him up off waivers, you got some nice value for this week.
And I think it's just for this week, though.
Moving on, we got Washington football team. Still needs to figure out an icon for them. Versus the Cleveland Brownies, the 2-headed backfield monster.
The 2-1 Cleveland Browns.
Yes, somehow 2-1 winning record. They have not been this excited about their first 3 games. I don't think since back in 2002 maybe.
I think it was 2004.
It was like Tim Couch, Dwayne Haskins. Not too bad. 3 picks. That's not really that great. Antonio Gibson, those guys who took the flyer on him, well deserved with the touchdown. And then Terry McLaurin, 4 catches, 83 yards. More Inman show in the touchdown category with the receivers. 3 catches, 38 yards, 2 touchdowns. But
Denzel Ward was all over Terry McLaurin. If he had more accurate passing, he would have been able to do something in this game. When there is a changing of the guard at quarterback, I think you're going to see a big jump in production.
And with the Brownies, again, the 2-headed monster, Nick Chubb going extreme, 19 carries, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns. But again, with the receiving core of it, they still go with Kareem Hunt in the backfield, which he did get his touchdown, 2 catches, 18 yards, 46 yards on the ground. But the interesting part is they're kind of still splitting them in the backfield. 19 carries for Chubb, 16 carries for Hunt. No one's really dominating. I mean, except for Chubb showing that he did monster yardage, the 108 on the ground. With changing of the guard again with the head coach Stefanski, splitting the backfield with these two juggernauts, I'm okay with it.
I think they've got some great trade bait. With how good Kareem Hunt has been, and that he is 1B, there are some major injuries that have taken place. With Chris Carson going down, if Kareem Hunt was to go to Seattle, that would be incredible. I don't think they're super excited about Carlos Hyde carrying the ball the whole time, but we'll get to that in a bit. But I could see a first, a second, and maybe a fifth round pick.
It'd be a huge trade-off for that.
It would be huge. So, moving on, we had a really fun game. The Bengals at the Eagles. This was our first tie of the year.
Yep.
23-23. On the Bengals side, Joe Burrow looked legit. He hung in there despite getting his butt kicked by that terrible offensive line.
O-line, yeah.
But he has a rapport with Tyler Boyd now. 10 of 13, over 100. It looks real.
And Higgins,
Tate,
the rookie.
Yeah, Autumn Tate also had a really awesome showing. The one thing that we saw that I was there are two things that we saw that I was disappointed with. One, AJ Green's lost his step. He was targeted 13 times last week. He was still targeted a handful of times this week, but he just doesn't have the production, that explosiveness. The other thing that we saw is Joe Mixon is just hampered behind this offensive line. They can get no push. And Joe Mixon just was pathetic today. He should be getting these yards, but they need to reinvest in that line something fierce for it to be anything good. We're saying, that negative stuff about the Bengals there a little bit. I would rather be the Bengals right now than I would be the Eagles.
Yes. Embarrassing. This tie's an embarrassment for them.
Carson Wentz looked miserable. He has nobody to throw to. Dallas Goedert went out with an ankle injury, did not return. There is just nothing there other than Miles Sanders. Deshaun Jackson went out with a hamstring injury. I mean, Zach Ertz really didn't perform that great.
Greg Ward is
the leading receiver. Exactly.
What?
Alshon Jeffrey is a waiver wire target for this week because he anticipates to be back. I don't know if I trust Carson Wentz to get the ball out. No. Miles Sanders was okay. There's not a whole lot to be excited about in this team.
Especially when your quarterback almost went back-to-back weeks being the leading rusher. Absolutely terrible. Okay, moving on. Here we go. Raiders-Patriots. Supposed to be an awesome game. The Raiders are looking for their third win. They're bringing back the game from the tuck rule. It just didn't turn out to be that kind of a game. Patriots took over. Derek Carr numbers, 24 completions, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs did not go absolutely ham like he did in the first game. It's kind of like he went ham first game and then came back to life week 2 and week 3. Only 71 yards on the ground. Hunter Renfrew woke up. Carr found him. 6 receptions, 84 yards, touchdown. Brian Edwards, whatever. I mean, the rookie that he is, but he was the number 2 for yards at 48. 2 catches.
Waller was a ghost with those injuries. Waller,
yes,
that's concerning.
For as high of a value as people probably picked him up in the draft, this is not the numbers. 2 catches, 9 yards. That's not what you want to see at all out of your supposed TE1 on your roster. So it's disappointing.
Jacobs also didn't have that great of a showing. It wasn't super impressive.
That's what I mean. Week 2, week 3, it's just he came back down to earth. Week 1 was just insane. But over on the Patriots side, Sony Michel, 117 yards on the ground, 9 carries, which actually is kind of impressive with only 9 carries. I'm still not going to pick him up at all. If he's in the waiver wires, just leave him there.
Rex Burkhead was much more impressive.
Yes, he had the 2 touchdowns. He had a sick one flying over the Raiders defense. Cam Newton, 17 completions, 162 yards, a touchdown, a pick. If you have him as your QB1,
you're getting the value that you drafted him at. I'm still very high on Cam Newton. Look, this game was out of hand from the beginning. And Cam, all he had to do was hand off the ball. They had Rex Burkhead going. They had Sony Michel going. They didn't need to pass. He just managed the clock, and they drained it. Mm-hmm. Typical Belichick game. Just full control. Bears at Falcons. This was supposed to be the Falcons kind of putting naysayers away. Bears win 30-26. This was just a mess. The Falcons had control of this game from the very beginning. They made the switch to Nick Foles. Nick Foles came back with 3 touchdowns, 188 yards. He made Allen Robinson show that he is a wide receiver 1. Trubisky couldn't do any of that. There was really nobody other than Allen Robinson, though. Right. Unfortunately, Tariq Cohen looks like he's out for the year with an ACL injury. That does increase the David Montgomery value. Matt Ryan, 238, a touch and an interception. Todd Gurley, 80 yards and a TD. And Calvin Ridley, 5 receptions for 110 yards. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out that Russell Gage is injured because he took a hard hit and he just didn't look the same after that hit. Yeah. Julio Jones should be back this coming week. I think Dan Quinn's on the hot seat. I just don't think you can give up back-to-back games with over a 10-point lead. Just absolutely miss it this bad.
Todd Gurley showing up like he did back when he was stellar over with the Rams. So the question is this: do you hold on to him or do you throw him out there as trade bait?
Running backs are such a commodity. I don't think you trade him. I think they're being pretty conservative with his use. So I really think he's going to be able to last the season. Also, this isn't a team that has playoff aspirations. They're going to use him
especially, 0-3?
Yeah, so. They're going to use him during the regular season. You're not worried about them holding him. That's kind of the concern with the Rams.
All right, next game we got Rams at the Bills. Rams completely getting stunned by the Josh Allen game-winning drive. 32-35, Bills win. Bills are 3-0. Oh my gosh, this game was insane. And do we say right now Josh Allen MVP? Do we already put in the ballot?
No, Russell Wilson is ahead of him.
It's pretty close. Yes. We'll get to Russell Wilson later. But Josh Allen was sick. 24 completions, 311 total yards, 4 touchdowns. Forget the interception. That's just sitting there completely not relevant at all. Looking good. And he ran one in for the touch. He had 5 touchdowns this game. He was absolutely phenomenal. I would not even pick up wide receiver core unless your name is Stephon Diggs.
And John Brown. John Brown this is his first down game, and he was hurt going into the week.
Yeah, true. But Stephon Diggs, if you're Stephon Diggs owner, you're finally like, thank you. It has finally happened. So, and Devin Singletary, 71 yards on the ground, 13 carries. They didn't work him at all that much. This is the Josh Allen team. This is the Josh Allen show. If you picked up Josh Allen probably super late, maybe 12 through 15 in the draft, you are loving the value that you picked him up at.
I have a lot of shares of Josh Allen, and I can tell you I am.
Yeah, there you go. But the Rams side, Jared Goff, not bad, 321 yards. Any quarterback that throws 300 yards, it's considered a good game, especially considering the points of 32 points. Not bad, good numbers for fantasy. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. But again, Darrell Henderson. I'm wondering right now, anybody who has Cam Akers, you might as well forget it. You reached for him, and he's not your starter. Just forget him.
That rib injury is going to linger, too. It's a broken cartilage in his rib. And that is... no thanks.
Yeah. So if you have him, get rid of him right now. Look for better positions, better people in the waiver wire. But Darrell Henderson. So we have back-to-back games into which he hit 2 good games. Are we establishing finally an actual workhorse, a bell cow running back over there at the Rams? Or is it too early and it was just one of those things where it's just like, you know what? Since you're hot right now, we're just going to run you. We're going to do a carry count. Because 20 carries, is a decent amount, but still Malcolm Brown had 7. Maybe it's too early.
Malcolm Brown also coming off of surgery. He had surgery on Monday on his pinky. Yeah. I think Henderson is somebody you should be trying to sell high on. See if you can get, solid production for him, because 114 and a touch, that's crazy.
And with the wide receiver cores, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods delivered. We got 9 catches, 107, 1 touchdown. Cooper Kupp, definitely good value for where you probably picked him up. And Robert Woods, 574, 5 receptions, 74 yards, 1 touchdown. Again, those are the only 2 wide receivers you should have from the Rams to be honest. I mean,
Van
besides Tyler Higbee,
Jefferson's
which is
interesting. Tyler Higbee for tight end.
well for
is
tight
okay.
end. Yes. Tyler Higbee went nuts last week. This week, not so much.
Moving on, Texans at Steelers, 21-28. I am so sick of the Steelers, man.
Oh, wait till we talk about the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, it's been just a terrible production year. So we got Deshaun Watson for the Texans. He had 264, 2 touches, 1 interception. It is another disappointing game. Bill O'Brien, I'm sorry, man. You've missed it. The Laramie Tunsil, the David Johnson, these are mistakes. I never want to root for somebody to lose their job, but it probably should. Johnson with 13 carries, 23 yards, and a touchdown. Randall Cobb leads the wide receiver core, 4 receptions, 95 yards, and a touchdown. Will Fuller also had a touchdown. But this team is reeling. The defense is terrible. The offense is terrible. Deshaun Watson is somebody you've got to sit on because of where you drafted him and the value that he should be producing, and hopefully it'll get better. But you're not happy about this. If there's a real offer, I would be unloading Deshaun Watson.
Should we say waiver wire alert for Randall Cobb?
I don't want anything to do with this team. I would rather...
With all the injuries, though, that are going around, if he's out there in the waivers...
I'd rather take James Washington on the Steelers than Randall Cobb. So,
okay.
On the other side, Roethlisberger had a very Roethlisberger-y game, 237 yards and 2 touchdowns. He controlled the game, though. He was a game manager. Connor looks like he has this backfield for real. I was worried. I thought maybe last week versus the Broncos was kind of a flash in the pan. Personally, I tried to deal him, and no one was interested.
Maybe now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So he had 18 carries, 109 yards, and a touchdown. Running back 1 numbers. So
exactly. Let's just hope he stays healthy.
Deontay Johnson got banged up. Claypool really didn't show up that well. The leading receiver here is Eric Ebron with 52 yards and a touchdown. What we're seeing, though, is that the Steelers division is not representative of the league as a whole. They are just a tier above, what we've got in the Texans, what we've got in the Jaguars, the Dolphins, and I hate to say it because I hate this team. I don't like this organization, but you have to give them credit. They've won 3 good games in a row. As long as Big Ben Roethlisberger is okay, they're in. Juju had a score. I mean, he's not rewarding where you drafted him, but he's certainly better than a lot of other people, so he's staying on your team.
Anyway, it's funny how you take care of the Steelers and I take care of the Vikings. Here we go. Tennessee Titans versus the Minnesota Vikings. 31-30. Titans win. Titans squeaked this one out. Tannehill did not have any touchdowns, but Tannehill, kind of like Big Ben, managed the game really well. And the funny thing is that he could have had more touchdowns if his wide receivers didn't keep getting stopped at the 1 and at the 1 again. And then Derrick Henry comes in and punches it in twice. And if you are a Derrick Henry owner, he was worked really hard this time. 26 carries, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. Very nice numbers. You're happy where you picked him up. He caught the ball twice, 11 yards, which whatever for PPR leagues. But you're still getting the value for where you picked him up. The receiving core, Jonnu Smith blew up
last week.
Yeah, last week. But this week, it's like he did normal numbers. 5 catches, 61 yards. Nothing to be crazy about. If you got him on waivers or if you started him, you're just like, I'll take it. It's just,
it's tight end numbers. Yeah,
it's tight end numbers. Just whatever. Corey Davis, he's supposed to be the fill-in for A.J. Brown. And the first game he did, the last 2 games he did not. It's disappointing if you're Corey Davis owners.
I've been really negative on Corey Davis from the beginning here. I just don't think the talent's there. You're waiting for A.J. Brown. That's you're just waiting and begging for him to come back. So this offense.
Raymond is the show for this one with 3 bombs at 118 total. It was a Derrick Henry show. He wins. But the Vikings, though, holy smokes, Dalvin Cook. Sick runs.
Got nipped up. Though there's some concerns he might be injured.
Okay, so those people that are Alexander Madison owners like myself, who went deep in maybe round 14, 15, or 16, just in case to make the other person upset who has Dalvin Cook for that handcuff pick. It might be a value pick now. We'll see.
We'll see what it turns out to be. It could be just a heavy wear day.
Yep, but Jefferson finally finds daylight. He's fast receiver. He finds separation, catches the ball, massive amounts of speed. He made those two defenders look stupid.
He did.
Absolutely stupid on that play.
And he had an awesome dance, too.
Yeah, oh yeah, dancing his way in there a little bit. I'm glad he didn't pull the
Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, Deshaun Jackson letting the ball go at the one. But no, he had on to it. 7 catches, 175, 1 touchdown. It literally was him versus Cook who had the most yardage because Cook won by 6.
And he is a waiver wire target. The way they're playing is going to get Mike Zimmer fired. So
high scoring games, whoever can score.
Yeah, they need to get out of that style, and they're gonna have to figure it out. They're waiting for Danielle Hunter to come back. Rudolph had a touchdown, his first of the season.
There's some rumors going around that the Steelers might be trading and looking after Eric Kendricks.
And if you're the Vikings, your Super Bowl window just like slam shut and cut off your feet.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
It's like you might as well get all of the help you can. They need. I mean, if you're the Vikings and you're sitting here at 0-3, Trevor Lawrence?
Season might be over?
Trevor Lawrence?
Maybe?
Yeah. I mean, when the Bears make you look terrible, like, that's a sad day at court. We've got Panthers at Chargers. Panthers squeak out the win, 21-16. Teddy Bridgewater, 235 and a touchdown. Teddy Two Gloves is the ultimate dip and dunk. Mike Davis came in. He had a respectable day. 13 carries for 46 yards. This was really a field goal show. Joey Sly kicked in 4. You know, it's not really that fun to watch, but that's what happened. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, they both had in the 50s. Curtis Samuel had a couple of carries and 4 receptions, but nothing exciting.
Real quick, let me add this. I'm a DJ Moore owner, and I think you are in Best Ball League.
Yes.
I would be very concerned if you're a DJ Moore owner. He is not in the playbook as the first look, the first target. It is very sad. I don't know what's going on.
It's Rule. He loves Robbie Anderson. He had him in college. They're looking at him first. The other thing is Teddy Two Gloves just doesn't have the deep ball. And
he keeps checking down.
Yeah, he's
8 catches for Mike Davis.
Yeah.
Like what in those are checkdowns. I
told you, Captain Dip and Dunk. So, on the other side, though, somebody who wasn't dipping and dunking, Herbert, 330, a touchdown and an interception. He's a rookie, but he showed he could take the hit and get back up. Yep.
That's insane.
Austin Eckler came back, PPR monster. He had 12 carries for 59 yards and a touch. And then on the other side,
11 catches.
He had 11 catches.
That's sick.
You know, normally 11 catches is going to make you the wide receiver 1 for the week, but not this week. Keenan Allen. Woo! 13 receptions, 132 yards, and a touchdown.
And everybody, the Keenan Allen owner says, finally.
Well, there was some hype starting to build early this week where people were realizing that the Herbert-Allen connection is, like, real. And he's got his number. Now, the thing that scares everybody on this team is Tyrod Taylor is going to come back. And he's going to start at least one game. And it's when does that happen?
Could ruin it all.
The Panthers squeaking this out. The Panthers have essentially a lost season. CMC, it's not like they're making the playoffs. CMC is coming back in 3 to 5 weeks. Mike Davis will be a serviceable fill-in, though. Joshua Kelly was a little bit disappointing. Everybody kind of, the cart got before the horse a little bit there. People were too stoked about Kelly. Eckler showed he's got this job. When they're in a close game, he's who they're looking at. So
exactly. All right, next game, the New York Jets, the embarrassing New York Jets versus the Indianapolis Colts. Jets trying to find their first win, and they are going to still be waiting. 7-36. Another blowout game. Another disappointing effort by the Jets. And I don't know what's going on. Perrine was supposed to be the guy, that the hot ticket off of the waiver wire that people were supposed to be picking up and getting excited over. It was the Frank Gore show.
Not if you listen to our waiver wire show. Perrine wasn't even on there because he sucks.
Yeah. For Yahoo, for my league, for some reason, no, I'm in a deep league. So if you're in a deep league, then okay, yeah, I can see that. But normal standard 12-team league, and all standard rules and all that jazz, then probably not. But in deeper leagues, yeah, Perrine was one of the guys that people were looking at. And no, Frank Gore stole the show. 15 carries, but 57 yards. He's like,
He's timeless.
I don't understand. And Sam Darnold is doing Sam Darnold numbers with 17 completions, 168 yards, 3 interceptions. I don't even look at the touchdown marker because I don't even think there is going to be anything that one is good for him. That's how bad he is. He's terrible. I don't understand what's going on, and it's a shame.
I think Sam Darnold needs a new organization, a new quarterbacks coach, a new wide receiver core.
Just get him off the team.
Yeah, he needs to be somewhere else.
On the other side, Colts, Phillip Rivers doing Phillip Rivers' numbers, 17 completions, 217 in yardage and 1 touchdown. He did not throw a pick, which is actually pretty good for Phillip Rivers, to be honest. But
Phillip Rivers sucks.
Yeah, he's terrible. He's going to stay in the waiver wires until probably the top 5 quarterbacks get hurt, which won't happen. So anyway, if you did pick up Jonathan Taylor late or in the middle round, I'd say 8 through 10 maybe.
I mean,
around there.
I saw him going as high as round 3. So
round 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's doing well. He's doing fine. 13 carries, 59 yards, 1 touchdown. The Nyheim Hines show has come to a halt.
It has.
So, all you Nyheim Hines lovers out there, don't get rid of him. Stash him on the bench, and we'll see what happens. But this is the Jonathan Taylor show now.
Yep.
So, yep. And T.Y. Hilton, 3 catches, 52 yards. If I have T.Y. Hilton on my team, I would try to find either trade him or he's not producing T.Y. Hilton numbers.
No, you've got to keep him though. You can't drop him. His grandma's going to be pissed too because she called him and said, "You don't look like you T.Y. on the field." And that is a true story. That happened.
Wow.
You got to keep him on your bench though. You can't drop him.
Yeah, it was bad.
I am so excited. I put out a piece on Sunday morning saying which game was a fantasy feast and which one is a fantasy fear. And the fantasy feast was this Cowboys Seahawks game. The Seahawks win 38-31. Both quarterbacks go freaking
They go
nuts.
bananas. Yeah.
Nuts.
Insane.
I mean, listen, Dak Prescott had 472 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Russell Wilson, 315 and 5 touchdowns. Russell Wilson passed Patrick Mahomes for the most touchdowns within 3 games.
3 games.
14.
Yeah.
14.
Even Peyton Manning. Like the people on that chart was ridiculous.
Inspiring. Honestly, it was one of the most exciting games that I have seen. Again, the Cowboys got down early and they came screaming back. Zeke did not have a good game. He had 14 carries, 34 yards, and 1 touchdown. Chris Carson left with what looks to be a pretty severe leg injury. He had 14 carries, 64 yards. Carlos Hyde came in. The game was through the air. We'll see what happens, but like I said on the Browns, I could realistically see them paying up for Kareem Hunt or somebody of that caliber. The receiving yards in this game were obviously ridiculous. The number 1 receiver for the Cowboys was Gallup, 138 yards and a touch. He was dropped in a lot of leagues, stupidly, but he was dropped because they're like, oh, he's behind Cooper and Lamb and he's just not that good. They're wrong. He was a star. And as CeeDee Lamb increases in exposure, even if he is a wide receiver 3, you can start all 3 of these wide receivers. It is awesome. Now, on the other side here, DK Metcalf. 4 receptions, 110 yards, and a touchdown. He also had a lost fumble. Tyler Lockett, though, was right in the wings with him. 3 touchdowns. Yep. I mean, come on.
He separated.
Yeah. This game, I could not have been more right. So allow me to toot my own horn here and say anybody who listened to that on that Sunday morning should be thanking me to no end, because that was, you guys feasted on that.
So quick question on this. Greg Olsen, not bad for where Greg Olsen is valued.
I don't like these tight ends. Hollister, Olsen, it's too crowded. I'd rather have Jonnu Smith, Mike Gesicki. I would rather have that type of player rather than Olsen or Hollister.
Okay, so what about those people that have Goddard as their starting tight end, and they have nothing on their bench, and they look at the waivers? I'm sure Greg Olsen's sitting there. Is he worth picking up?
No.
Still no.
Nope. I want to, I think that you've got so many weapons. Maybe if they just decide to, abandon the run, you can keep 4 or 5 viable weapons, but with Hollister taking some, Disley taking some, Greg Olsen taking some, I'm just not interested. Greg Olsen, you have to remember, he has lingering foot issues as well. Yeah. So it's one of those things that I
just wanted to throw that in there because for him and where he's valued, 5 catches, 60-some yards, not too bad. Moving on, Detroit Lions versus Arizona Cardinals. What happened? The Lions win, 26-23. Get their first win.
Galladay happened.
So,
Kenny Galladay happened.
Galladay gets unleashed. He is off the injury report. He had 6 catches, 57 yards, and a touchdown. But the question is what happened to Murray with 3 picks? I don't know what defense he was looking at, but he did not perform his normal numbers. And Matthew Stafford did okay, 270 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns. AP is like Gore finding the fountain of youth, considering also that AP had his ACL torn. And so it's just the dude's just freaking nature. And he's being used as a cowbell, 22 carries. That's some serious work. So
Swift is just utter disappointment at this point.
Swift is disappointing. Very disappointing. His only action was for a catch for 19 yards. Not even 1 carry. Not even thought of in the running playbook. And then you Marvin Jones owners out there like myself, disappointing. 3 catches, 51 yards. We thought, us Marvin Jones owners, we thought that all the tension was going to be over with Galladay so that he would get the number 2 DB, but it still didn't matter. Stafford's still looking at Galladay all day, even TJ Hawkinson. So, I don't know. Marvin Jones owners? Yeah. It's interesting. But anyway, over to the Cardinals. Like I said before, Murray not doing Murray numbers. 3 picks, 2 touchdowns, 270 yards in the air. Interesting. I mean, he had a touchdown on the ground, which made up. So he's 3-3 between touchdowns and interceptions. But still, if you're Kyler Murray, you expect higher performance, not these mistakes. These are mistakes. And so it cost the game. They lost the game. The turnovers don't win games, and so you can't do this. Andy Isabella, I'm sure, is on waiver wires.
Yep.
There's no way on earth anybody drafted him. There's no way on earth that anybody started him this week. So he's an interesting option out there. 4 catches, and 2 of those catches were touchdowns, 47 yards. I mean,
and with Christian Kirk out, that's why.
Right. But it is a DeAndre Hopkins show, but obviously he's taken. So you sit there and you look at the waivers, and if he's out there, pay decent money for him. I'm in a league where we have a purse, $100 purse, and you have to bet against everybody else.
It's called a free agent budget.
Yeah. The free agent budget, yep. And whoever has the biggest offer transaction blindly wins the player. I don't know, $20, $30, or if you have 100 total.
Whoa!
Maybe go after him with that.
I think you
remember deep league.
I understand.
I'm in a 16 team league, and it's 24 positions.
Way 30% of your total value. We have already spoken too much on this guy. Maybe $12.
$12 max.
Maybe, because Christian Kirk comes back and it goes back to irrelevant. Kyler Murray's not that accurate, and he only has eyes for DeAndre Hopkins.
You're saying this was a fluke game for the fact that he had 2 touchdowns. Kenyon Drake owners, not really a Kenyon Drake performance. 18 carries, 73 yards, 1 catch in the air for 6 yards. So it's just, I mean, if you picked him up as your RB2, okay, fine.
Well, he went in the second round, sometimes in the first. So people are hurting. Yep.
So, but anyway. Moving on.
All right. Bucks at Broncos. Bucks 28, Broncos 10. The Broncos suck. They're too hurt. Cortland Sutton, Drew Lock. Jerry Jeudy is hurt a little bit. He played, but he's still... they lose 10-28. Jeff Driscoll was benched. Melvin Gordon had 8 carries for 26 yards. Jerry Jeudy had 5 receptions for 55 yards. On the other side, we saw Tom Brady look like Tom Brady. He had 297 passing yards. He had 3 touchdowns. No interceptions. That's awesome. The running back rooms could not be more of a Bruce Arians system. Like, Leonard Fournette goes off for over 100 yards, and what do? Let's give the ball to Rojo.
Rojo, I know. He's still got too much love for Rojo.
It's that is the indictment against Bruce Arians. He's a great quarterback coach, garbage with running backs.
Do you want to hear the funny stat with Mike Evans?
Sure.
First time ever that a wide receiver had 2 catches for 2 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I mean, you can't be mad. You can't be mad. He got you the numbers.
Yeah, because I'm on the Best Ball League, and I sit there and I see the notification come up, and it's like, Mike Evans touchdown. Yeah, for a yard. Didn't that already happen?
Yep.
And then I look into his stats, and it's like, dude, that's only his second. He's only 2-2-2. What's going on? Like, it was the weirdest game. And for our Sunday night football game, we got the Packers versus the Saints. Aaron Rodgers, are we considering him old now?
No, he is a QB1. Drew Brees is old.
Not compared to Drew Brees. Yeah, Drew Brees is old.
Yeah.
He's 41. He's
Come
41. On. I get that. But Aaron Rodgers is the way that everyone's just talking to him pre-draft, during the draft, before the season started. It was like, oh, he's washed up. He's not the Aaron Rodgers of old. You know,
I was guilty of that. I said it.
And so now he's the Aaron Rodgers of young. He still has way too much time left on his career and everything. Aaron Rodgers. So the score right now is 30-27. They're up by a field goal. Aaron Rodgers is doing decent. 259, 2 touchdowns. Aaron Jones. Anyone who picked up Aaron Jones is having a heyday for these first 3 weeks. Seriously. Last week Aaron Jones went off and just ballistically. Wow. Now he's at 43 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. I mean, he's catching the ball 2 times, 17 yards. They have an established running back. They haven't had an established running back all the way except for Green.
Eddie Lacy.
Or Eddie Lacy. Oh, I went really far.
He's just typical Alabama running back.
Man.
Good for a couple years.
Allen Lazard is going off this game. 6 catches, 146, 1 touchdown. They are playing without Adams.
Yep,
Adams is hurt.
He's going to be back next week, though.
Yep.
He tried to play, or he tried it out, just wasn't quite there with that hamstring injury. He will be back next week, though.
It's going to be interesting if Green Bay can hold it off. And going over to the Saints side, Drew Brees, more... That found the youth getting passed around, I swear. These quarterbacks... I remember when Vinny Testaverde was 41 years old, and that was a big deal. He was still quarterback. Now it's like, 41, you still got 2 or 3 more years left.
I don't know. When you watch him, he's not making the deep ball throws. He just doesn't have the zip on the ball. If they didn't have Kamara, this would be a lopsided game.
But he reminds me a lot of how Peyton Manning plays. Peyton Manning was like one of the smartest quarterbacks ever to play the game. Yeah, when Peyton Manning was over with Denver with Brandon Stokely, Emmanuel Sanders, and the deep threat with Thomas.
And Wes Welker.
What was it? Omaha. How many times do you hear Omaha? Seriously. So I don't know what Drew Brees' Omaha is, but Drew Brees is smart, just like Peyton Manning, so I guess that's why he's a timeless wonder.
But he doesn't. He's not a timeless wonder. He's welcome to Dumpsville in my book. If he's on my quarterback list, I am taking a flyer on a young guy and getting out of the Drew Brees business. I want nothing to do with it.
But you're not impressed with 229 yards, 3
No!
tutties?
This is 2020, man. You need to have over 300 yards consistently. This is not... We're not playing Big Ten football. Like, we're not. Okay. You need to have more yards. So, what do you think of the...
Something interesting here in the game. So, Latavius Murray is out carrying Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, but...
It's a 2-1 spread right now. It's 12 carries with Murray, 6 with Kamara.
But the receptions, man...
is interesting. Well, yeah. So, and this goes to your dink and doink play with Drew Brees. He's just dinking and doinking real small passes. 12 catches for Alvin Kamara. 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. So, okay, fine. He's making it up with the catches. But still, he's supposed to be the top 3 running backs. If 4 running backs.
please.
Top 5. Okay, fine. I'll say top 5.
Alvin Kamara is performing. He is like the first or second running back in fantasy points. He is just their slot receiver and their emergency exit. These passes are like going half a yard in front of him.
So you're not worried at all with Kamara. You're not worried at all with Kamara having like 6 carries.
No. Not at all, because he's got 136 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns.
So we're going to see this every week?
I think we're going to see.
Wow, that's a bold statement. Okay,
yeah, no, I mean, maybe not 136 yards.
Well, right, but solid performance.
Yeah, he's going to be over 110, 115
total
all-purpose yards.
Yeah,
every week.
Okay, the game is coming to a close, and the final score is.
All right, moving on. We've got my fantasy fear game of the week, the Chiefs at Ravens. I am so nervous about this game. I am not putting, if you have Patrick Mahomes, you have to play him because you likely don't have another option.
It's a stud. You play your studs.
You play your studs. But I benched CEH in this game. You have to start Kelsey. But I would be looking at Tyreek Hill as a flex at most. I think that this game is going to not go the way that the Chiefs want it to, because the Ravens are going to be able to control the ball. They're the defense is sick. Yeah. Lamar Jackson can extend plays. They've got like a crowded running back room, and I'm not excited about any of those, but like there are 2 players, maybe 3 that I'm excited about in this entire game. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce.
What about Mandrews?
All right, 4.
Okay, 4.
And the thing is, this game, like, people are looking at this as if it's going to be this high-scoring affair. This is going to be a ground and pound, grind it out, luck-based game. Like,
first one at 20 points maybe or something like that.
And, I mean, look what the Chiefs did last week at the Chargers. They squeaked it out with a last-minute field goal. They're not playing at like this top level. Hopefully you listened and you said, okay, let's see who else is out there or who else I'm playing. Because, I mean, I could see CEH having a stat line of like 15 carries for 63 yards. And
no touchdowns.
And no touchdowns. And, you know, it's just, and with, I don't know what CEH has done to pee off Andy Reid. But, like, when you start Darwin Thompson and Darrell Williams over CEH, something's wrong. I don't know. I'm trying to get out of the CEH business. I know he has the potential to be a huge boom, but I have tried to offload CEH for relatively in the same range. I'm very worried. At the time of this filming, you know, this game hasn't happened, but we'll know the score, and it'll be right there.
Okay, well, that does it for Week 3 Fantasy Football Free-For-All. Hopefully you guys have learned a lot if you missed any of the games, but definitely for any waiver wire picks, start-ems, sit-ems, get ready for Monday Night Football. Hopefully you guys have been filled in, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.